Alright, so I was gonna do a live stream today. That didn't work out. I had no chat. But I wanted to make what I discussed in live stream a series anyway. So I'm just gonna do that and I'm gonna upload it to YouTube when the series is complete. And today I wanted to talk about Paul. Yes, Paul, everybody's favorite guy. And specifically, I wanted to talk about Paul's fruit of the Spirit. Because we've been having this discussion. And this discussion centers around like building the kind of world we want to see, right? Taking our power back and really building that world. And I know that Paul's fruit of the Spirit is a Christian concept, but honestly, they just kind of seem like good moral values that anyone could use. And those are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And I just kind of wanted to break these down so that we can start looking at what a world based around these principles would look like. And the first one we have is love. What does it look like to build a world around love? Like genuine love for your neighbor, for the world. Well, I think allowing people to love who they choose is a good start. Supporting families. Making sure our elderly are taken care of. Making sure our children are taken care of. Ensuring that everyone is seen as our neighbor, regardless of race or ethnicity, regardless of immigration status. We have to make sure that no one is sleeping on the streets, that people have access to things like healthcare, that education is well funded, that everyone has food and clean water and shelter. The next is joy. How do we create a world built around joy? Well, the thing is, joy is a little bit like peace. You can't have peace without justice, and you can't have joy without addressing pain. And that means addressing systemic oppression. It means creating art. It means working together in community and finding joy amongst each other. And one thing we very much have to address is loneliness. It is hard to have joy in a system that prioritizes loneliness and that prioritizes materialism. A lot of the Gospels are about the joy of letting go of an obsession with materialism. It's about finding joy in community instead of stuff. The next is peace. And as I said before, peace can't really happen without justice, which means reforming our criminal justice system. It means taking money away from massive weapons manufacturers. It means putting an end to police brutality. Creating a justice system built less around punishment and more around ending recidivism. It's about really tackling our relationship with violence and guns and having tough conversations around that stuff without being at each other's throats. The next is patience. And that is something that y'all really need to learn. What I have noticed is that because of the internet, people tend to do what I like to call activism hopping. There's this big inciting event, a bunch of people jump on board, and then when it doesn't get solved in 4 weeks, everybody moves on to the next thing. We live in a really fast-paced world. And especially now, we feel like we're being hit with a bunch of shit all at once. And that it's all super important, and we need to get it fixed right now. Because if we don't get it fixed right now, lives are at stake. And that's not wrong. That's not incorrect. And I am certainly not telling anyone to wait. What I am saying is that activism takes patience. It is painstakingly slow. And I think a lot of y'all want to do what gets that dopamine up. You want to scream, you want to yell, you want to fight. And I get it. I was the same way when I was young. And I can tell you from years of experience, it gets you nowhere. Activism is a slog. Building a better world is going to take a long time. You are probably not going to eat the fruit of the seeds of the trees you've planted. That is just the reality. You're doing this for the kids, so that they can live in a better world. And you gotta keep that in mind. We may see some change in our lifetime, but we may not. And what we have to do is be consistent and persistent. You just show up time and time and time again. You just keep going time and time and time again. If nobody shows up, you do it the next week anyway. And you just keep doing it. You don't give up. You don't wait your turn. But you also have to realize you may not see the results of what you do, which is kind of where faithfulness comes in. You gotta have hope. You gotta have faith that what you're doing is gonna make the world better. And you have to have confidence in that. And you have to have confidence without being able to see the results. And that is hard. But you gotta believe in something. You have to believe in something. It can be God, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be people. It can just be a cause. It can be the world you want to work towards. You have to have faith that that can happen. Because if you don't, you're just going to become a doomer. And that's not productive. That doesn't help build a better world. And it doesn't do anything for you either. Like, what, honestly, sit there and think, what does thinking it's hopeless do? What does it do for you? What does it do for anybody? Nothing, not shit. All it does is that when things go wrong, it keeps you from being disappointed. That's it. All you get out of it is catharsis. So you gotta have faith. You gotta have hope. Hope is always unreasonable. It is rarely logical, but you don't move forward without it. Stormy wants to be on camera. Say hi, Stormy. Next is kindness. What does kindness look like to you? What does it mean to do someone a kindness? And I want you to really, really think about that, because people have different views on what kindness is. And the reason I want you to really think about what kindness looks like is because a lot of people who are homophobic, who tell you that you're going to hell, a lot of them think that they are being kind to you. And obviously, they are not. A lot of you here on the internet, you think you're creating a kinder world by being puritanical. And everyone is sick of it. So you really need to ask yourself, am I being kind? Am I building a kinder world? Or am I just affirming my own belief system? Am I just doing things that make me feel good without thinking about the other person? Kindness requires consent. Other people get a say in how you love them. Next is generosity. Give where you can. Do what you can. All of that is great. And you should do it. However, there are people in this world who are not going to be generous by choice. And those people will always corrupt things. And so we need to have a real, serious discussion, probably not on the internet, probably in your own communities, about what to do with the oligarchs. What do we do with those thieves? Because that's what the oligarchs are. They are thieves. They are stealing from you. They are stealing from the American people. And if we want to create a kind and generous world where people are giving what they can, we need to address the oligarch problem. What do we do with people who refuse to see generosity as a virtue? Next is gentleness. What does gentleness look like in a harsh world? I do want us to really think about how we perceive things like strength and weakness. Because I have seen a lot of y'all fall into the trap of seeing violence and brutality as strength. Now, is violence sometimes necessary to achieve justice? Quite possibly. But I don't think it helps to look at violence as anything but a possibly necessary evil. Gentleness is a strength. It is not a weakness. And we need to move away from the type of thinking that tells us that gentleness is the same as spinelessness. It is not. We've seen what spinelessness looks like. We just had 4 years of spinelessness. And I would not exactly call the Biden administration gentle. In contrast, Bishop Buddy and her sermon, that was gentle, but it was not spineless. We have to stop equating the two, and for fuck's sake, get rid of that damn Jordan Peterson quote about how if you're not capable of great violence, then you're not peaceful, you're harmless. Jordan Peterson's mindset is not something we need to be emulating. He is incorrect about most things. And the next, of course, is self-control. Discipline. Not punishment, discipline. Self-discipline. Making yourself do the thing. Making yourself take the risk. Pushing yourself forward. Doing what you have to do. And that means getting up. It means taking a shower. It means brushing your fucking teeth. It means drinking water and eating food. It means exercising. It means taking care of your spiritual health. It means going outside. It means talking to your neighbors, and it means going to or starting a club, someplace you can socialize. It means going out and doing the work and trying to bring new people into our cause. People you may not agree with and who may not agree with you at first. But you have to do it. You just have to do the thing. You need to learn how to control your anger, how to not let your emotions get the best of you, while still acknowledging they exist, and that they do need an outlet. Preferably an outlet that's not screaming on the internet. But I am literally running out of time on this. If you want me to discuss any of these more, we are going to be having a conversation about this in live stream tomorrow. That'll be happening at 9:30. I hope to see you there.